Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to all of you to Lunch with Linda. This is the very first Monday in November. And you are joining us either on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, either live or later on during the day. And we are so glad that you are able to join us. I'm Linda Daniels, and this is Northampton Walls in downtown Northampton in Massachusetts. And like I said, we're happy to have you here. I'm a little bit like, oh,
what happened?
No, everything's fine. It's set up right, but I'm getting here in my head because there's like 14 things in my head. Hi, Eileen. You're always the first. Hey, Bonnie. Amanda. Hey, Bonnie. Let us know how Facebook is doing this week. I don't know if we've done anything different. I can guarantee we haven't. But hopefully it doesn't fuzz out like it did last time. But say hello, those of you that are joining us. Hi, Sally. Hi, Dale. Barb. Nice to have you here, as always, and Linda. Yeah, so it's the first Monday in November. I hope you all survived that return to not daylight savings time. And boy, oh boy, wasn't it a shock last night when it got dark at like 5 o'clock? It's like, holy cow, I have to walk the dog in this. I don't actually mind it because I am in charge of walking the dog at night. And she doesn't really like to go out in the dark. So that means that I can put my pajamas on by 6:30 and not have to go out at 7:30 at night. So I hope you are adjusting. I like to think that it gave me an extra hour of knitting time, but it probably just gave me an extra hour of staring off into space time.
Which we all need.
Or on my phone time.
Yeah.
Looking at Instagram and Facebook. So, hope you all made it through. And I'm wondering, did anybody get down to the New England Sheep and Wool Festival down in West Springfield? Decker and Adrian and I went down there on Sunday morning, and I did bump into a couple of people. It was nicely busy, and there were over 200 vendors. So it was nice to see everybody out, and I think everybody had a good show. If you went and you found something special, let me know about it. I'd love to hear what you purchased and what you thought was interesting and pretty and, you know, satisfied all the wants. Last year at the show is when I got my sheep mug, and she was there again this year, but I didn't think I needed a second one, so I didn't indulge anything there. I did, however, find something to share with you guys, but this is the big tease. The big tease. I'm not showing it to you until after Thanksgiving. It is kind of going to steep and stir and develop and get ready for you guys after Thanksgiving. So I will be showing you something very special that I think you will really love just in time for the holidays. But it was great fun. Like I said, it was pretty busy. If you've been to it before, you know that, like every show, it ends up being a lot of the same people in exactly the same spots. So if you have a favorite or you need more yarn that you bought in a previous year, you know where to find it. And there weren't too many new people. I went hoping to find another local dyer or yarn producer, and I felt like everybody that was there was just a little bit too big for what I was really looking for. I didn't want somebody who's already got a name and is already out there and people really know. I want somebody a little bit smaller than that. If you've got an idea or know somebody who's at home struggling to dye yarn and get it sold, give them my name and number. Tell them I'm looking for somebody. I would be happy to look at other people's yarns, so that when we get customers in who are asking what local yarns we have, and I mean local, I really want somebody in Massachusetts and Western Mass even more so, then I can really show something local. We do and have in the past carried Bloom woolens. We love Lisa, but Lisa has hit that expansion point where she's barely able to keep up with her orders, and she has all of her yarn already committed this year. So we won't be able to get anything new for a while from her. And I would like to have something local to show people when they come in and ask for it. Especially on the weekends. We had a really, really busy Saturday. A lot of people that went to the fiber show stopped up in town to have lunch and to visit us. And we ended up selling a lot of yarn and hearing a lot of stories. So it was really fun to see everybody. Good, Mary. Yeah. And we had a group of young men who kind of stormed into the store and seemed to know what they were doing. It wasn't like came in and looking around going, where am I? They were here on purpose, and they went into the back behind this unit and were on their phone talking, showing, and we found out that one of them was actually FaceTiming with his mother, showing her yarns that were here. They went downstairs and shopped a bit down there and came back up and shopped some more. And all three of them ended up buying something, and it was just so cute because they were buying it for their mother, but they had a really good idea of what they were buying and what it meant to have wool and what it meant to have local. So that was really fun kind of thing for us to see. We don't get, although we get men in, yes, we don't get very many men in who are that interested in the whole wool process. Most of the time, if they're with their wives, they spend a few minutes standing and looking around trying to stay out of the way, and then they end up leaving and going across the street to Newberry Comics. But we do have some men customers who come in and are looking for yarns for specific projects, but it's always a little bit of an adventure when we have that. The other thing is that we had a Learn to Knit class on Friday that Marissa taught, and this was also a really new and fun experience for us. A group of 3 young women came in, and 2 of them who did not knit had purchased the Learn to Knit class for that 3rd friend, and they surprised her. They kind of like didn't tell her where they were going.
Aww.
And ended up bringing her here just in time for her to get her needles and yarn ready and take the Learn to Knit class. And I think that she had such a good time, she might have left intending to teach the other 2 everything that she had learned in the class. So it was kind of a fun weekend to see experienced people and then true beginners as well. So we have a few more classes planned for the rest of the year. You can see those on our website. Now I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between, do I want to try and schedule another class before Christmas, or do we need to just slip into, I'm really busy, everybody's really busy. I think we'll probably have a finish it up day, a Saturday or a Sunday here at the store, where if you're trying to knit something for Christmas and you want some help finishing it up, or just want to get away from everything and come and sit here,
that'd be fun.
I think it would be fun. Have cookies and tea and maybe a little something else to keep all those nerves down and make some progress on whatever it is you're doing. So that's basically what we've got in the works. But there are some really exciting things happening this month that I want to tell you about, and I will tell you about next Monday as well. This coming weekend is Veterans Day, and it should be a nice weekend, no rain finally. And so we are going to do a store model sale out on the sidewalk. I've taken the rest of the models that we had for sale in July during the sidewalk sales, and I've marked everything down to $50. So we'll have a rack of sweaters, not all the sweaters in the store, obviously, but the models that we are done with. And we will have big baskets of the cowls, scarves, and hats that we're done with. So these are mostly things that are done out of yarns that are no longer available, or colors that have been discontinued, that kind of just build up in a big pile downstairs. And then after this weekend, we will then donate what's left. So if you are looking for a quick gift, or you're feeling like panicked that I don't have time to finish what I intended to make and I really want to give them something knit, then come by. The stuff will be outside both Friday and Saturday, and by Sunday it will be all over. So that's what's happening this coming weekend. And then the following weekend, I cannot wrap my head around this. I can't even just believe that the following Saturday is already Bag Day here in Northampton. If you haven't experienced a Bag Day in Northampton, you must make a plan and come to town. Bag Day traditionally was a shopping bag, and on it was printed all of the participating retailers in town. And you would carry that little shopping bag around to the places that you wanted to visit, and you would get 20% off. A lot of places originally did 20% off of one item. Some places did 20% off of your entire purchase, but it is only on November 18th. Since COVID, the Gazette no longer publishes an actual shopping bag, but they do give you a flyer. And there will be a notice on all of social media and on their website listing all of the participating retailers. So you don't need to carry around a bag. The flyer is helpful because you'll know who is doing it and who isn't. We do 20% off of all the yarn. So any amount of yarn that you want to purchase will be 20% off. There will be one yarn that we're not going to do that sale on, and that is because it's a special pop-up store from Knit and Word. She's from Connecticut, and she's going to be bringing some of her hand-dyed yarns. It'll be here for the week, for Thanksgiving week, but her yarn will not be part of the Bag Day sale. So that will be the only yarn that's not on sale. So if you've got your eye or have had your eye on something, that Saturday is definitely the day to come in and get it, because it will be 20% off. We are also going to add this year a 35% sale on all and any bags and baskets. So all of the African baskets that we have in the store, any size, the big ones, the small ones, the bike baskets, those will all be 35% off. And the artifact bags, the Likey bags, actually, Kate, can you grab the Lyra bags? Kate's going to grab one. These will all be 35% off. Sort of like you're not getting a bag to carry your stuff around in from the Gazette. So hey, get a bag at 35% off to carry your stuff around. I don't know if you remember these, but we still have a lot of these in stock. They have that padded separation between them, and they're perfect, actually. They're really great iPad or laptop bags. They fit right in there, but we've got the three colors, the gold, the gray, and the maroon, and those will be 35% off.
Oh, this gold one.
I know. So, well, we might have a lot of them left. It just depends. So Dale, we don't do it on the website, but you can call in that day, and there'll be somebody who will be able to take your order over the phone. It's a nightmare to try to figure it out on the website. So we're just doing it in store or over the phone. And yeah, you can call and they'll just take all of your information down and what you want and be able to do it that way. One of the things that I love about Bag Day is that a number of the restaurants in town do a 20% off of a gift certificate. So I know that the Northampton Brewery does a 20% off. The pizza place, what the heck's the name of the,
I don't know.
Down on Bridge Street. I can't believe I can't remember it. They do 20% off. Anyway, look for the list and make your plan, because 10,000 Villages does 20% off. Almost all of the stores do some sort of special sale on that day. And a lot of them will, every store is able to set their own kind of sale. And again, it could be that it's only one thing. Some of the restaurants might set a limit on how many or how much you can buy at 20% off, but it's definitely worth shopping, and it is crazy. So definitely put that on your list to come on out and participate in bag day here in town, because it is a lot of fun. Okay, so bag day. I want to share two more things with you. One is I finished, or almost finished, the new model that I did. I showed you this a while ago when it was didn't have any sleeves. Thank you, Kate. Now it has one sleeve. This is one of the designs by Mini Me Knits. Yeah, I really like this.
Cozy.
And I did it out of the chunky tweed. You move that way, I'll move this way. And it's got buttons. I just haven't decided on the buttons yet. And I didn't put the last sleeve in, although
nice
it's
shape.
done. It's a very, she does a great job. Now her sweaters are oversized.
I like oversized.
They're they run very, very big. So this is a big sweater, and it's a slightly bulky weight yarn. But what I wanted to talk about was that it's knit in the round, so there aren't any seams, and this one is knit from the bottom up.
Wow.
So when you get to the underarm, you split it for the back and the two fronts. Knit both of those up and then join the shoulders and do the neckband. The directions have you pick up stitches and knit the sleeve down so that there isn't a seam, or you don't have to sew anything. There's a seam because you pick up the stitches, but you don't have to sew anything together. That to me is the absolute biggest drawback to doing a sweater in the round where you have to pick up stitches and knit the sleeve. Because by the time I'm ready to do the second sleeve and I'm on a circular needle, I have the entire sweater in my lap and I'm constantly turning it into a twisted mess, which I then have to let drop and untwist and start the whole thing again. Eventually, I end up having to go to double pointed needles to fit the cuff, because the entire sleeve won't fit on a 16-inch. Now, I'm a double pointed needle girl. I don't mind them. I like them. So that's not a big deal. But carting that weight around is a big deal. And I do this often. When I'm in a situation like this, instead of picking up the stitches for the sleeve, I reverse the directions. And I start where the sleeve ends with the cuff, and then I increase instead of decrease until I've reached the length I want. And on top of that, I usually do it on straight needles because I also don't mind seaming. You could do it in the round, but now I just have the sleeve to worry about, and it's not a big deal to me to sew this one remaining seam to set the sleeve in. So I did that on the first sleeve. Instead of picking the stitches up, I knit the sleeve in reverse and then sewed it into the body of the sweater. And it really, I don't think, makes much more of a seam than you would get when you pick the stitches up. Thanks, Eileen. Yeah, it's so much sense to do, it does make so much sense to do the sleeve alone. And you know, you can do it alone on circular needles. In fact, you don't even have to reverse it. You could knit the sleeve starting, instead of picking up the stitches, that's the number of stitches you cast on, knit the sleeve in the round, decreasing. It's just a whole lot easier. And as we age, it's a lot easier on your hands and your wrists especially to not have to be knitting on a circular needle that doesn't have a lot of support through your hand, and knitting in the round. It's going to be a lot easier on your wrist. If you have any wrist trouble or wrist pain, I definitely recommend doing this. It's not easy to do when you're doing a top-down sweater, because the sleeve stitches are sitting there and they're live. It is possible, especially if Kitchener stitch is your friend, you can knit the sleeve, reverse knit the sleeve, and then Kitchener it all together. But it's not as easy to do in a top down as it is to do from the bottom up. So I just want, in order to let you all know how to cheat, And it's not really cheating. The point I really want to make is you get to be in charge. You are in charge of your knitting. Just because the pattern was written one way doesn't mean that you have to do it that way. You can, especially as you get more and more familiar with sweater construction, you can decide just exactly how you want to go about making the pieces that make up the sweater. So don't be afraid to try something else. And if you've got questions about that, I'm happy to talk to you on the phone or in the store about how to do that. So I'm going to put that sleeve in today, so the button's on, and then that will be a new model for the store. And of course, I can't remember what the name of the pattern is, but it is by Mini Me Knit. I like a lot of her designs. We'll figure that out later on. Do you remember that the last time we had jewel designs, Laura was talking about her modern, what is it called again? Ornate. Modern ornate buttons, and there was a choice between going shiny or dull. Matte.
Satin. I think she called it
satin. Satin finish. Well, she did it, and we finally got them in. And I don't know if you're going to be able to, I guess you can. This is the matte finish, and this is the shiny finish. And it does, when you see them in person, they really do show up differently. We are selling so many of these buttons. It's really fun and fascinating to see all the different ways people are using them. So we have the modern ornate now in both shiny and in matte. And remember, they do come 3 in a container. So you have the 3 classic or different shapes. You guys can see that. This is the shiny. And we got 6 in of each set. So those will be ready to go. And they come in this great little case. And as long as you remember to put them back in the case, you'll always know where they are. So those are in. We have sold out of the golds that Kate was using on her shawl, but I have reordered those as well. So they will be coming in. So the title of today's was Don't Be a Swatch Slouch.
Tongue twister.
It is. It is. And I wanted to talk about swatching. We've been watching Kate's swatching for the past few weeks to do color. But you really need to swatch. You really and truly need to swatch every and any single time you start a new project and you want the project to actually fit or come out the way you want it to be. Oh, this is, look at, and Kate has hung on to all of her swatches, unlike I, who ripped them out and reknit them.
This was for the tank top I used to wear.
Oh, yeah.
The ribbing.
This is a ribbing. Kate's swatches are also neat. Very neat. Well, I wanted to show you a swatch that I've lost 4 times already.
I think it just fell on the ground again. it just...
Honest to God, this is why I don't save them, because they disappear. Okay, let me back up a second. So, when you go to any of these fiber festivals, everybody's got a sweater on that they have made. And it's so much fun to see, for me as a shop owner, to see, okay, what's been popular? What are people knitting? What are they working on? What are they wearing? And a lot of people have been working on the Alpine Bloom. This is Autumn Bloom. So this is Caitlin Hunter, and this is Autumn Bloom. And the Alpine Bloom is similar but different. This one is the, like I said, the Autumn Bloom, and it is knit with a DK weight yarn. And I started to swatch with the Patagonia as the green background and the spiral grain for the multicolor. This is what the spiral grain color looks like. Now, we've got this in both what they call a sport weight and the worsted weight yarn. And next week, I'm going to talk about yarn weight. Because it drives everybody, including us, nuts. Yarns that are not clearly the weight, they don't clearly look to be the weight that you think they are. So I did the first part of this swatch, which is down here, or up here. So Yeah, it's like this.
Yeah.
This is the first half of the swatch that I did. I did it with a single strand of Patagonia and a single strand of the spiral grain. And what I wasn't happy with is the holiness. Let's see, let me get my pointer finger right here. The holiness between one color and the other, right in here.
You can even see it in the flowers.
It is. It's not holy, it's just not as tight as I wanted it to be. And that's because the spiral grain is a little bit lighter weight than the Patagonia. And on top of that, I knit with both colors in my left hand, and it was really hard for me to grab the lighter weight yarn. It just doesn't have the same feel, and it threw off my rhythm. So I then did the second half of the swatch with the spiral grain doubled. So I'm not 100% sure yet, I might do this. And it didn't change the gauge.
It didn't change the gauge.
It didn't change the gauge. It just gives more meat to that color work. And that's what the back of my swatch looks like. So I was catching it a lot so that there wouldn't be any big long floats. So that's one reason to do the swatch, not only just for gauge, also for color, and also to see if the two yarns will really work together well. Now, I'm not 100% convinced that this is what I'm going to do, because I saw so many beautiful ones at the show this weekend. I was like, oh, I love the spiral grain. You guys know I love earth yarns, but it's not as colorful as some of those samples are. So this is the color of the sweater that I'm going to use, and this is turning a little more yellow on the screen than it is in the in true life. And I pulled out some of the Freya yarn samples because these two I think would be dynamite.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of color that people are using. I mean, not necessarily orange, but I mean this kind of fading, really deep contrast. You see there's absolutely no green in this color at all, and this is going to make it beautiful in that cascading flower and leaves down the length of it. I also pulled out this one because this you would definitely want to do a slouch, a swatch. Don't slouch, do a swatch. Because these two colors, the blue and the green, have the same kind of value. And even though they look like they're really contrasting colors, that blue isn't going to show up that well against that green. Plus, there's a little bit of green in the center of this color. And it is a different, it's more of an acidy green. It is a lighter green, but I don't want that to happen at all to this. And the same thing with this color. I pulled this one out as well. And again, they look great, but even though it's purple and green, I'm nervous about them being pretty close together. So I would definitely, go with this one.
Because these colors actually have, these are all going to meet in the gray area.
Yes.
This has no hint of gray.
Yeah, it doesn't get light at all. Yeah. Okay, so swatch for gauge. Absolutely, definitely, positively, you have to. You can't ask your knitting teacher, do I have to swatch? Swatch for color. So Kate's been doing a number of color tests on her long swatch. I did a swatch test on the color for the autumn. And swatch, here I wanted Kate to show you what she's doing with some of her old swatches. She has a sweater that she crocheted last year or the year before.
I don't remember.
It was a while ago. But it's her bang around sweater. She wears it around home. And what she is doing, I'll get out of the way. I'll get this way. I'm going this way. I'll get out of the way. She's sewing her swatches on to make them pockets.
So there's one. And then I have a little one on the inside as a fingering weight. And then when I was looking for all my swatches, when we were talking about swatches, I found this really long one, which I'm going to sew on, and it's going to be for my phone. And then I found this weird little tube. I don't know why I did a tube, but it's going to...
Oh, it really is a tube.
It really is a tube.
It's round.
It's round and it's a tube, but I found out that it fits a crochet hook and a pen really well. So I'll always have it right there. So I think
what
I'm
about
just gonna
scissors?
I'm going to keep adding pockets.
You
You
could
can
put
put
scissors
inside
in
and
there.
the outside. Yeah.
Cool. So
we're calling
dig out
it, what? The Swatch coat.
the Swatch coat.
Yeah.
Pull out your favorite old sweater that needs a little pick-me-up and sew those swatches on. All right, so I won't lecture you, I promise, about doing a swatch, but do a swatch, all right? Especially since you are, of course, this week. I can't believe tomorrow's the 7th of November. I can't believe it. All right, so go knit something. Bye.